Welcome to Puzzle with Emilia. Today we have another Swedish Nationals themed video and we're going to do this puzzle. But first I want to say it is so hard to actually accurately estimate what puzzles are fast and what are a little bit slower. And what I mean by this is actually a great example I have over here. So I had this puzzle for quite a long time on my to-do pile. I didn't want to do it because I thought that, oh my god, this picture is so not for me. This is gonna take like forever, like hour and 20 minutes at least. And surprisingly, I actually did this in 46 minutes. Obviously, this skill, whether you have it or not, is not that important when you're doing pairs or individuals. But for example, in the worlds, it actually matters because in the team category, you have to choose with your team what puzzles you do on the classification round. And that decision can kind of like make it or break it. But I was commentating the round of this because I had the other puzzle on my first round, which was the floral reflections, and then I was commentating this was the other classification round in the Swedish Nationals, and I said something like this.
Have you done this one?
Actually, I have not. I'm thinking that this may have been more on my alley than the puzzle in the first round.
Yeah.
But it's always hard to say. I have found out that it's like you like to think that you can analyze what you're good at, but then you're always surprised that how was this puzzle faster than the other one.
I still do agree that this is more in my alley and I will do this faster, which means that I did the floral reflections over there in 52 minutes and 46 seconds, so I should be faster than that. But of course, you always also need to remember that it's not what the time is. Like easier puzzle is easier for everybody. And harder puzzle is harder for everybody. For example, from the worlds, I actually didn't even know this until later. I hit a jackpot of what rounds I was. Because I have done all the other puzzles from other rounds and I would have done either worse or barely the same when it comes to my placement. Not time-wise, but when we compare to other people, which is obviously the point in a competition. And also in pairs, the same thing. We had done the other rounds puzzles, and I'm actually embarrassed to say, but with one of the puzzles, I think it has some sea creatures or something, we would have not even qualified with my pair. So yeah, I hit a jackpot. But today we're gonna see if I actually hit a jackpot with my classification round in the Swedish Nationals, and would have I actually placed better with this. And I just want to tell you, on this round, the best person, the fastest puzzler was Topias with the time of 45 minutes and 57 seconds. And then we have second Mimmi with the 49 and 30, and then Maya with 52 and 3. And I'm so sorry for my pronunciations. Jag talar inte svenska, so you just have to deal with it. But let's go into this. If you don't see the name clear enough, it's Tranquil Harbour, and this is from the catalog of 2015, which I'm very excited about because I love older puzzles, 10 years. And so, let's just get into it and see how I do. Okay, first I had to take the old puzzle away. I'm very not sorry for my rough way of putting puzzles away, but here we go with the actual puzzle. And you could not see it went so fast because obviously this is a little bit sped up. So I actually dropped some pieces while I was trying to take them out of the plastic, and also I was really struggling to get out of all of the pieces out of this plastic bag. So I probably lost there like 15 seconds. And by the way, if you ever feel like my videos are going too fast or too slow, remember that YouTube, when you're watching on YouTube itself, there is this what is it in English? Cogwheel? It's a dangerous word for somebody who may pronounce English incorrectly. Okay, looking thing where you can put speed settings, so you can put it slower or faster if you wish. But yeah, randomly I started kind of like, because I do short edges out now, so I started doing them except the sky parts. I thought that's gonna take some time, so there's no point to do them yet. I always start with the kind of like the fastest sections that I can do. And I'm kind of like aiming to always be in the situation that something is going, pieces are attaching. I didn't do sorting, but this is actually really interesting because I think generally we don't see the top speed puzzlers doing too much sorting, but I had the pleasure, because I was commentating this round, so I was actually interviewing the first 3 people, and Maya, who became 3rd, actually said that she sorted this puzzle. I was confused when I heard that during the interview. I'm still confused. I did ask some follow-up questions about it, but I don't still have the image in my head. How can you like sort this? But I mean, that's also the beauty of different strategies. You cannot say for 100% sure that this is the best strategy that works for everybody, because there are so many factors to take into consideration. So something may work for somebody. Like, we can of course put statistically or kind of like in general this works the best, but well, we also know Kristin from Norway, who puzzled with one hand, so we know that sometimes different strategies or styles just work. But anyway, I think the flowers were quite easy, but for some odd reason I could not find the like light pink flowers that are in the corner. I was very confused. Like, I found all the other flowers but not those, even though I tried to. And I was also trying to do kind of like this light brown road kind of thing. I don't know what you call it. Didn't go too well. Also with the C, there was the problem that it's not exactly one section. It's a little bit there and there, like zigzag kind of thing. The same thing with that thing I call road. And then I was really struggling with those buildings. Like, I should have watched here more the pieces. So now with this puzzle, I did the opposite mistake that I was talking about my last video, where I did the Battle of the YouTube Puzzlers puzzles. So here I was actually watching too much on the reference image, and I should have just looked at the pieces. Also, I was unable to attach them. So you're gonna see a little bit later, I can actually already attach them to this whole big puzzle that I've been doing. And that, I think, took me so many extra minutes, because you know, when you attach them correctly, then you see the shapes, you see the little holes, the empty spaces that are missing. So much easier to put the rest of the pieces in. But yeah, okay, now I did it. And now this kind of starts going very well together, just filling in the empty piece. Then moving forward to the sky, of course, it was easy to put those pieces that has a little bit like this lilac color. And I remember when I was commentating, I remember saying that, okay, I don't think the sky is that hard, but when we actually saw the top speed puzzlers doing the sky, it was extremely hard. That also they said in the interview, but I felt like now that I did it, and after the impression of interviewing the people, it wasn't that hard. I mean, it was hard. I would say it took me like 5 minutes, which is a lot of time, but I don't think it was that hard. I didn't feel like completely mentally struggling with this. So, but ta-da! Okay, so my final time is 54 minutes and 22 seconds. And that would have actually been worse than what I did on my actual round, because with this time I would have placed 9th. And we also have another good learning here today, which is that couple minutes can matter a lot. So if I would have been 2 minutes faster, I would have actually been in top 5. And as I was like commentating my own puzzle doing, so you know that there was a lot of things I could have done a bit better. Also, I was a little bit, I don't want to say that this was like slow puzzling or in chilling or anything, but I wasn't like in my competition mode. If you have watched, for example, my live stream, you know that I'm out of breath when I do puzzle for like real. So that didn't happen with this. And I think I could have easily taken those 2 minutes out with the mistakes I pointed out that I did while doing this. And even though also time-wise this took me longer than the floral reflections, I still agree that this is more in my alley because the floral reflections I had done once before the competition, and this was kind of like my first time for doing this. So I think if I would do this also second time, it would be much faster. And also good news that if we compare with the international guest on the second round that this puzzle was in, I would have actually been the second one, right after Olivia from Denmark. In my actual classification round, I was third in the national guest, after Sophie from Denmark and Annemie from Switzerland, who, by the way, I am going head-to-head on Instagram Live this Saturday, so remember to also follow me on Instagram. And also subscribe to this channel. If you're already subscribing but you're not getting notifications of my new content, go to my channel and tap their notifications on. There's a little bell that actually needs to be tapped, so you will get the notifications. And I'll see you next time, and I hope you also join my live here on YouTube on a real-time competition on Sunday. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.